Hello, my fellow Kenyans. Gakonga, your coach and the pioneer of Vision Total Football Kenya. Hello, my fellow Kenyans. Today, I want us to start by asking ourselves one single but very important question. Why do we always have to fight our way to bring in good change, when everyone knows that good change is good for the country, good change is for the betterment of many? Why do we always have to struggle and fight for a good change? This is why there are a small number of people who have identified themselves, who knows very well that when the change comes, they can never benefit. And that's because of self-interest. They know very well change is good. Positive change is good. People are preaching change. But when the change comes, the few who have identified themselves and they know themselves, they are going to not benefit from a system that will benefit the masses. Therefore, for me, this is the one single reason why we have to fight for the change. It is for those who want change against those who are benefiting with the wrong system of football in Kenya. When we put the correct football system in place, the whole country will benefit. Everyone will benefit. Opportunities will be created. You can become what you want in Kenya. I keep saying this. The only thing that need to change in our Kenyan football is our football system. And that will open up our football for investors to come, for people who want to make it in football, whether it's a football player, whether it's a football referee, whether it is a football coach, whether you want to make it as a football scout, whether you want to make it as a, marketing advisor, whatever you want, you are going to make it in our Kenyan football. Once the system has been made proper, once the system is straightened, once we create people-centered football. Right now, we have football that is not suitable for the country. Football that can only benefit the few. And this is what I want. I want this number, the few. They need to understand that we are tired. We are tired with the system that is killing football in the country. We are tired with the system that does not create football economy in the country. Kenyans, we are fighting for a small cake. Those who are fighting in our football, those who are fighting to be elected, you are fighting for a very small piece of cake, when we know very well as a country, we can own a cake shop. We can own a cake bakery. Why are we fighting for a tiny piece of a cake? Why can't we listen? Why can't we appreciate this change? Why can't we listen to the message of hope, to the message of change that we, the Vision Total Football Kenya group, are preaching on a daily basis? My fellow Kenyans, the only way forward for us to benefit as a country is to approach our football without any self-interest. Whatever you say, know that you are saying it for the country. Let us put the correct system of football in place. This is the only struggle that is critical for people who are interested in Kenyan football. I promise you, my brothers, my sisters, everything will open up. I know what I'm talking about. I know what a good football system can bring to a country. I know what a bad football system can do to a country. We are witnessing that in Kenya. Therefore, as I carry on with the rest of this video, please ask yourself, why do we have to struggle to bring good change? We must struggle to bring good change, because this is a fight between those who want change and those who want status quo to remain. My fellow Kenyans, let's talk about it. Now, I want to talk about this as the first important thing today. I want to talk about the amputees team, Kenya National Amputees team. Back in the year 2018, on 8th of November 2018, Kenyan TVs were broadcasting, the problems affecting our amputee national team. You know, our amputee national team went to the World Cup in Mexico, and the team did well. The team performed well, extraordinarily well. They beat USA and many other teams. Our amputee national team is 12th in the world and second in Africa. But how many of us Kenyans know about this amputees team that has been suffering for so much and for so long? Because we know very well this team in Mexico, they had no kit. They actually borrowed a kit from Mike Sonko team in Nairobi. That is the kit that our national amputees team had to use in Mexico. And my brothers, they did well. My sisters, believe me, they did well. But because they only had one kit, they could not even change this kit when they had to play the next game and the next. They were playing with a sweaty and smelly kit in Mexico. That is Kenya's national amputee team, my friends. Now listen to this. When the team came back, we know they were not paid. This team, they pitched camp at the Ministry of Sports. That's when Echesha was the CS for sports. And the team slept there overnight until the next day. And what they have suffered up to today, yeah, I've spoken to the captain of the amputee national team through my colleague, and I'm telling you, this team has suffered a lot. And we need to have a football system that is inclusive, that includes everybody, where all the people involved in football can fight together, can lobby the government together. The issue right now, the reason why the government does not even listen to anyone who's talking about football is because the government does not see anything positive coming out of football. The government has been funding football. The only thing the government here is problems and fights, football presidents, money being stolen. How can you blame this kind? How can you blame our Kenyan government if every time the government gives out the money, the results is always the same? So what we need to do is to put the football house in order. Therefore, when we approach the government, when we lobby the government for anything, we are going to be respected. But as of now, sorry. But back to the amputees team, my fellow Kenyans. This team, when the players came to Nairobi, they had like 2 weeks before going to Mexico, yeah, where they needed to be in the camp in Nairobi to prepare for the World Cup. And I'm telling you, most of these amputees, they did not have somewhere to stay. They stayed with their fellow friends in Nairobi, around Nairobi. Some came from Kisumu, some came from Mombasa, and they stayed with their friends for 19 days in Nairobi while training before they went to the World Cup in Mexico. And it did not all stop there. Again, this team wanted 16 million as the budget for their entire time that they were going to stay in Mexico and back home to Kenya. But the money they were given by the Ministry of Sports then was not enough. They were given 6.5 million Kenyan shilling instead of 14 million. But the team struggled. They put whatever they could, put their own money, and they went to the World Cup and came back. And they even came back with a participation trophy to show the nation. But how did we celebrate this team? My fellow Kenyans, most people in Kenya don't even know about this team. And that is a sad story. This team, second in Africa, 12th in the world. Imagine that. Therefore, for me, we need to build a football system that is inclusive, that gives opportunity to even people living with disabilities, that represent people living with the disabilities well. That is very key for me, and that's the only way we are going to have a football that is inclusive. I want everyone involved, but the fights that are within FKF, the problems and the rot that are within FKF, this federation has no even time for anyone else. The only time they have is time for fighting and fighting for election, fighting for who's going to become the football president, fighting to create a team blue, fighting coaches to create groups in the names of Ken Foka and whatever, all targeted on elections and vote hunting. Therefore, for me, we need to change our whole system in football, so that the system is not based on is not putting too much energy on elections and who is going to become the president. Let us have a system that nurtures football well, where one president will go out, another one comes in and continue with the projects and continue developing brand Kenyan football. That is key. But this issue of team blues, team change, name changes all the time, because the idea here is vote hunting. Now we know the fight for this football election has been narrowed to Nick Mwendwa versus Nyamweya, and now we have also Mosonye coming in. We have Herbert Mwachiro coming in. So the election has become something else in Kenyan football. Whereas you know that football election is supposed to be something very small, an activity of half an hour, and a football president is elected. This campaign, this money spending, this nomination fee, it is locking so many people and the sons and daughters of Mama Mboga who do not have a lot of money or who have not stolen a lot of money. So what I want to say is this: unless football system changes in Kenya, we are going to cry for a very long time. And for this football system to change, it must start by doing this, by disbanding FKF. FKF as a federation will not take Kenyan football anywhere, will not sort anything, will not sort any football system. So for me, if we are serious about our Kenyan football, we must start having a round table conversation about disbandment of FKF. That is the only way that I'm going to accept that football in Kenya is about to change. Now, like I said, I have spoken about the Amputees football team. And you know, one other point I want to throw here. This Amputees football team, for being neglected by the Football Federation and by the country, what they have done is create their own Amputees Football Federation, which is not necessary, because if their interests were taken care of, they didn't need to go away by themselves and create a small federation that's not helpful to them. So this is the issue of lack of inclusivity. This is the issue of discrimination. This is the issue of not thinking that these people living with disabilities are our brothers. They are our sisters. We are in this world together. They are Kenyans. We are Kenyans. Let us develop in our mind the idea of inclusivity. This is even a right enshrined in our Constitution 2010, inclusivity. This Amputees team, it is not just a national team. It can actually create a wonderful league in the country. But why are they so ignored? Why are they so neglected? My fellow Kenyans, let us think about them and go back to the football system. The problem lies within the system, and the federation is part of the system. Let us prepare ourselves for the disbandment of Football Kenya Federation. Now, I want to talk about another issue. Starlet, our sisters. This Starlet team, and the only thing I want to talk about is Starlet. I know there are a lot of suffering in our football. I know there is a lot of players suffering in Starlet, but the ones that I want to target today, I want to talk about our Starlet team that went to CECAFA 2018. These girls, to today, they have never been paid by the Football Kenya Federation. We have seen these stories, endless stories about this issue of CECAFA tournament and the girls who went to play that tournament, Starlet team that was never paid their allowances. Now, I know that the girls who speak out, the girls who challenge FKF, most of them are out of the team. FKF like to build a Starlet team that cannot challenge anything. But what happens now, the Starlet, they continue suffering, because if you speak out, you are out of the team. And I can understand this. It takes heart to be militant. It takes heart to become, to join militancy, to speak out and to say the truth. So those girls who cannot speak out right now because they are in the team, please, give your message to other people who can, as of now, speak out on behalf of you. We know you are suffering, the Starlets. And Starlets, those who former players, please speak out. Point to all the rots. This is the time to expose the rots of our system, because we are about to experience a new football system that is inclusive, a new football system that will take our Kenyan football to the next level. But I know that anyone who speaks against FKF, they're either reprimanded, taken out of the team, or completely taken out of the Kenyan football system in a clever way, that they are neglected and the federation does not listen to them. This is not the way forward for our football federation. I keep saying, those who are involved in the federation, they are fighting for a small cake, a biscuit, small piece of cake, when we know we can own many cake shops as Kenyan football fraternity. So what we need to do is to change our football system. My God, I cannot say enough of this. It is the system that needs to change. I'm tired of talking Nick Mwendo. I'm tired of talking Sam Nyamoya. I'm tired of talking about any other candidate. I know they will not deliver. With the current system, they will not deliver. Let us fight for changing the football system, so that we can have a football institution, a football governing body that is capable of being respected globally and in Kenya, that is capable of managing and governing Kenyan football across the country, in a country of 50 million people. What we have now is a SACCO, equivalent to Githurai Tuk Tuk SACCO, equivalent to Kilifi, to Kilifi maendeleo ya wanawake. It is not the correct body that can govern and manage Kenyan football. I will say this point blank to FIFA, that FKF is not capable of governing Kenyan football. We as Kenyans, we want FIFA to stay out of this issue so we can sort our football system. We can sort our football system without FIFA on the table. We know where we want to go. The Vision Total Football Kenya group knows exactly what needs to happen to our Kenyan football. And I want to say to those FKF president aspirant, please join the fight. Let us change the system. Whoever wants to be elected is not our business. All what we want to see is a good football system that will serve the Kenyan football, that will serve the Kenyan people properly. That is the only task that we want to see go through. Whoever want to be elected, shauri yao. I'm not involved. We are not interested in that. We are interested in one agenda, changing the system of our football in Kenya. My fellow Kenyans, let us all join hands together. Let us fight for this change. It is critical. My fellow Kenyans, one last thing I want to talk about is Kenyan Premier League. Kenyan Premier League takeover by the FKF is real. But I want to ask KPL, why do they never fight? Why do they never put a fight? They keep being told by FKF that, oh, we are going to cancel the contract if Nick Mwendwa is elected. Nyamweya on the other side, we are going to maintain the contract if Nyamweya is elected. This issue of Kenyan Premier League running and managing their football should not be about who is elected or who is not elected. Should not be about a favor of their contract being cancelled or not cancelled. It is actually their right. Yes, Football Kenya Federation is there to oversee football in Kenya, but it cannot claim that it has to give a contract or a memorandum of understanding to every single league in the country. So what? So if you form a league in Kajiado there, you now want an approval from FKF every 5 years to run the... No, the leagues must run themselves. FKF is an oversight body, and they should not pretend to have an upper hand to say that we may renew your contract, we may not. That is not something we are going to accept as Kenyans. And Kenyan Premier League, I want to see you put a real fight and tell FKF, the way you are going is a wrong way. It is not up to you to dictate that who runs the Kenyan Premier League. It is up to the clubs, but the clubs, to me, this Kenya Premier League has cowards in it. They are not fighting enough. They are not represented well. I want to see people speaking out in Kenyan Premier League because that's the only way they are going to survive. FKF is worse than Kenyan Premier League. So how do we expect FKF to run Kenyan Premier League well? That is a no-no deal. And this idea of KPL writing to Ohaga, talking about telling Ohaga not fighting a case with Ohaga, telling Ohaga not to allow the KPL takeover by FKF. These are not issues that should be going to Ohaga. Ohaga is just a tribunal judge. And I said the same thing about elections. See how election story has gone. This election maneno has gone from last year, October, until now. All on Ohaga's table, Ohaga deciding what is right, but FKF disagreeing with it. Ohaga is being misused by the football fraternity in Kenya, or by some quarters within Kenyan football. The point is that FKF, if KPL cannot fight their own battle, what do they expect Ohaga to do? They need to stage their own fight. They need to fight their own battle and tell Nick Mwendwa, listen, this is not about you. This is not about FKF. This is about KPL. We have our own destiny and FKF has its own destiny. These are two different destinies. How is Nick Mwendwa hoping to combine them together? No. Again, KPL, stage a fight. If you cannot fight a good fight, call me. You need a good fight to tell FKF, shut up. This is not your place. We know where we want to go. We will work with you as equal partners, not the way you are dictating us. That's the end of story. Period. Now, FKF president seat aspirant. I want to hear them talk about the economy of football. Kenyan football is a giant economy. Why are they not talking about it? They are talking about being elected, sorting the system when you are elected, this and this. We are not going to accept that. How can you guarantee us? Nick Mwendwa went there was elected in 2016 as a darling of the country. Today, people are criticizing them from all angles. Sam Nyamoya came in there in 2010 as the darling of the country. He left there as an enemy of the state and an enemy of everyone. Now, another president is fighting to get in there, and in 4 years' time, he'll come out as an enemy of everyone. Why is this? Because the problem is the system. System! I can't say it enough. It is the system that is wrong. Yes, the elected presidents have their own issues, but if the system was right, things wouldn't go as they are going now. And this system is the same that is producing yes men, the team blue men who are yes men, who cannot say no to the president. Whatever the president wants, sign this check, sign OBE van, buy this. They never say no because they are yes men. And the way they came there, they came as a result of being team blue and the yes men. This system must be destroyed. We must have a new football system in Kenya. The word is the system. Sleep and sing system. Wake up and sleep system. Wake up and sing system. Sleep and dream system. Tell your brother system. Tell your mom system. Tell your sister system. What we need in Kenya is one single thing. A new football system. I leave you in peace. I'm gone. Aluta. Continue.